if I do this enough, I know this is going to benefit me 6 months from now, a year from now. So that's how I'm looking. That was the big takeaway for me, is that there is value in doing this right now, and don't tie everything to your business right now. That was my biggest takeaway.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to dive deep into the transformative world of life coaching? Well, today, you're in for a unique experience. My name's Sergio Romero, and you're about to witness a real-life coaching session with my friend Abhilash, a fellow coach certified by the Jay Shetty Certification School. Abhilash came to me with a common but paralyzing question. How do I start creating content? It's a question many of us wrestle with, shadowed by the fear of taking the first step. In this special session, not only will you get to see how I navigate the coaching process, but you'll also discover actionable insights on how you can unleash your content creation journey. But don't get me wrong, fear of starting is natural, but it's not a stopping point. It's where the adventure begins. And as we progress towards the end of the video, I share a powerful framework designed to help you structure your content. This way you can have a clear roadmap on how to create content like a pro. Let's embark on this journey together. Ready to get inspired? Let's jump into the video. So, you know what? I just want to start off by saying, thank you for considering me to help you out on this journey in this whole, content creator space. Sometimes it gets a little lonely. I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to creating content, there's not a lot of people that do like to create content, and when you do, people don't understand. Like, oh, I need to dedicate some time to editing. I need to dedicate some time to really brainstorming the next idea, and not everybody can relate, and they'll be like, well, why don't we just go hang out and have a beer, So as I started thinking about these things, I started leaning in towards being a coach for social media influencers, content creators, entrepreneurs, because in the road, it gets lonely, and I want to be there as a support, So with that being said, Abhi, what is your main goal for this session? What are you trying to accomplish today?
Yeah, I probably would try to discuss and solidify and get validation in a way to say if I'm thinking about this the right way, and if I'm picking my channel, and I also have this question mark in terms of whom I want to reach initially. They might not be on social media, but I do want to make a bigger impact. So does it still make sense the way I'm thinking as to what kind of content I would want to put out there? Does it make sense? So I just want to validate this for myself, and also through your experience, having seen that what works, what does not work, because I have no experience in this at all. So essentially, validating that strategy, of being there on social media to create some followers for myself going forward, so that I can make that impact.
As you're thinking about this, and you've been, I'm pretty sure you've been thinking about this for a while since you've been in the program. When you're thinking about social media, what value do you see there, or how do you think it's going to serve your business?
Serve my business in a way that I would make more people think and reflect if they are able to connect with what I'm putting out there, and just to let them know that there are options available for people to navigate that phase with some help, because I myself was not aware of it. I myself was not aware that I could have used a coach as somebody who would be able to help me in that phase of my life. And the only option that I knew about was therapy at one point in time, and therapy didn't really, I wouldn't say it didn't help me. It did help me go deeper, to look at certain patterns within myself, but it wasn't really helping me move forward in life, and at that phase, if I had really met with a Jay Shetty certified coach, who, based on whatever I have learned, whatever I'm getting good at right now, if I had come across somebody who was like me in that journey, I think I would have, my path might have been accelerated. I don't know if I would have ended up doing everything the way I did it. So I don't want to I don't want to change anything that I did in the past, because I know that my journey is unique, and I really cherished the journey that I've been on. And when I look back and I see what I put myself through, and how I emerged out of it, I feel really proud of myself that I was able to put myself through it. But there was a phase in my life that was very, very difficult and challenging for me, and a coach would have played a major role in me not feeling that way. Is what I would say. So that's what I want to really do. It also helps my business, but more importantly, I do want to put things out there where people don't really think about a few things. They don't know that they can use certain things as help. They feel a lot of things are taboo and they don't want to discuss in public. So I just want people to be more comfortable doing all this. So.
Yeah, I love that, Abhi. I can't tell you enough, because a lot of the times when people want to focus on social media, a lot of their focus comes from money, right? Like they're like, oh, I just want to make as much money as possible and everything. But you come from a place of where you just want to bring awareness because you see the value in life coaching. You didn't even know that it was even an option. And to be able to provide that value to other people, to even just bring up awareness, like, hey, this is an option that you have, a resource that you have, something that you can utilize in your day-to-day to just enhance your overall life and get to yourself to the place you want to be. And I love to hear that. So when it comes to social media and everything like that, you definitely see the value. I can see that you want to, branch out your reach and everything like that. So when you think about these things, what is it about social media that prevents you from just taking that first step?
While I don't know if it's really preventing, but the thing that I struggle with the most is validating for myself that this is how it would make sense. The thing that I worry the most is will I be consistent with the way I need to do? Because one thing that I've gotten to understand with this is that you need to be persistent and you need to be consistent. And for me to also be able to do something, I don't want it to feel like hard work necessarily. I want to feel like it comes naturally to me, and I want to enjoy that process as well as much as possible. Keeping in mind that I am trying to serve somebody and there's a bigger need that I'm trying to solve, and keeping myself engaged. But where I get stuck, maybe it's a little bit of the fear of acceptance, fear of failure, a combination of both of them that has kind of slowed me a little bit. And also, I would say, in this crowd, will I stand out? Will I stand out in this crowd? Will I really be able to reach people the way that I want? And will I be able to put myself out there and give that message through social media? Through social media is where I wasn't very sure for a long time, because I myself am not on social media. I don't really see what's happening out there and how people are putting themselves out there. I haven't really followed anybody authentic. I do follow, I wouldn't say social media. For me, social media, I would say, did not include, YouTube. I do subscribe to certain people's content on YouTube, especially podcasters. So that's one thing that I do continue to listen to every now and then. And then now there's this new format where people are creating 5-minute clips out of podcast, specific sections, which are, then allow me to just listen to that and reflect upon it myself. It's like, oh, wow, I did not know about this. What does it mean? What do I need to think about it myself? And the content that I usually, look for in general is something that I can use for my personal development, or something that generates curiosity for me. So that's the only thing that I follow on, and that too only on YouTube, because I am on YouTube. That's the reason why I was able to check out even your latest video that you posted a day or two ago. Those are things that I continue to do, but I don't follow a lot of people. Maybe 2-3 people at best that I follow on YouTube, if anything. I do also go to YouTube at times just for entertainment in terms of stand-up comedy, because I like to laugh, and I think I have a funny bone in myself too, and I just like to be more relaxed and not. I'm learning how to not take life too seriously at times, and it's important to be. To enjoy and have fun. So those are the only 2 types of content that I really look at on YouTube. But I'm not on Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I was on Twitter for a specific reason because I was volunteering and I was trying to put out a message and I was trying to connect with a lot of soil scientists and people who are doing some farming and agriculture and the government people. That's what I was looking to connect with. So I'm just to stay up on the trend. But I also see a lot of, I started, subscribe to a few people who are doing personal development stuff and I see what they are doing on Twitter. That's also a way of, putting out the message in terms of content. So, but when I look at it, everything seems redundant sometimes. And my fear is, how can I continue to be unique? I don't believe that me copying somebody one-to-one is necessarily the way that I will be feeling authentic and natural about it. So these are all the different things. I feel like I wanted to slowly gain knowledge and understand how Twitter works. I have a understanding of how YouTube works. I wouldn't say I have a great understanding of how Instagram works, but I'm generally aware of the concept. How do I stand out and be unique? And what should I really put out there for my target audience to see? Not having complete clarity in terms of how I would, who is that niche that I really have to appeal to, because my niche was a little broad and I started journaling this week to further hone it down and say that who would be my initial, set of customers for the next 1 year. These are the people that will be more likely to leverage life coaching to move to the next phase of their life. But I know that there's a big spectrum of people who are interested. So, whom am I really targeting? Am I really going after the big spectrum, or am I really only going after the small slice that are going to be my immediate potential clients? So not having that clarity is the one that was stalling me from moving forward. Otherwise, I might have done this a lot sooner.
Okay.
Because other than this, I have no reason to be on social media. I'm there only for one purpose. So that's what.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. So there's a lot to unpack there. So you said that you wanted validation. You also wanted to be authentic on camera, and you wanted to have less friction in order to be able to make the process more comfortable for you. And also you wanted to find clarity as to like what specific target audience you're trying to reach. That way it can make the content creation more structured or strategized in order to be like, I want to target them. So there's a lot here, so let's refine it so we can really focus on what the outcome of this session would be. Now, do you want to figure out today what target audience you're trying to target, or would you like to see how you can, change your mindset on how you can validate what it is, creating content and stuff like that? So what sounds best for you? Where's your focus today? What should we focus on?
I think what would be more valuable is to for me to get some validation as to if I'm thinking about content creation the right way. First of all, my imagination of what content creation is, and am I thinking about it the right way? And also think a little bit and about the content itself. Not just the strategy in terms of the channels that I'm going to use, but the mode of, how I want to put out my content itself. Once I get, I feel like, yes, because I have thought about this a lot. I'm not sure if I've concluded it for sure that this is what would make sense the most. And once I do that, I think I'll have better clarity on, who's, am I trying to, cast a wider net right now? Because that's where my mind goes, is that social media is not only for your specific audience. I know that only those people might be more interested in, hiring you as a coach right now. But I'm not really thinking about social media. I've drifted away from thinking about social media as only a funnel process for me. I think about social media more in terms of, now I'm beginning to think about social media more in terms of, even if I don't get a single client out of that process, but I know that I am contributing positively to somebody's life because I am forcing them to think and build more awareness. And down the line they might choose something, but not right away. So as long as I'm contributing for people to be more aware, I see value in that. And that value would be, of course, validated by them wanting to come and see my content and stuff like that. So what kind of content and how I put that content out is probably, more important to focus on right now, I would say, than the target audience itself.
Nice. Do I have permission to give you some feedback on that, on what you just
Yeah,
said? Okay,
yeah.
so awesome. So you wanted to seek validation. So just on my side of creating content for about 5 years now, when you focus on impact, then you are definitely focusing it, and you're doing it right. That's how you should come at social media, instead of thinking about it as a funnel. If you can at least impact one person, that changes the game. You're feeling fulfilled, you're feeling more energized, and you see yourself doing this, not just because you want the money, not because you want the clout or fame, how kids say it. um,
Hmm.
but it's about how can you impact the person on the other side of the screen. And so just by hearing you say that, I want to validate you by saying that you are on the right track. Now, if we can focus on how, like, what type of content, like you had mentioned earlier, like what type of content would resonate and everything like that for people. Teaching is usually the key to bringing people to watch your content and kind of seeing like what you're all about. You already know a lot when it comes to life coaching. Even during the feedback sessions and the live training, like you have a vast amount of wisdom when it comes to doing this correctly, and sharing your knowledge, sharing what you've learned in the school. All these things can bring people in that are curious, that are willing to figure out like, what is life coaching, what is this all about. And when it comes to, sorry, bring it, because I'm giving a lot of advice and everything, but
No, no, it's okay.
when it comes to you trying to figure out your target audience, I would challenge you to think about yourself in a sense where it's like, where was Abhi before he even heard about life coaching? Can you target the past Abhi and be like, what was it about you? What pains were you going through? What attracted you to this? Where did that curiosity come from? What questions did you have? And how can you answer those questions on video?
Yeah, and that's precisely what. And thank you. You're in a way validating, and this is what I was looking for, Sergio. Right? That's exactly my mindset right now. Is that my target audience is me 5-10 years ago. That's whom I am targeting right now. And within that also, just discussing with a friend of mine, he acknowledged first to say that, dude, your growth has been tremendous in the last 1 year. I myself am not at that phase of awareness for you. But also what he brought about is to say is that a lot of people who within this journey are more financially secure are the ones who would really go out and seek life coaching at this point in time. But from a content point of view, what I was necessarily thinking about, is to either come, and discuss a topic and provide my views, my learnings on that, or generally raise questions, to say things like, this is what I have been asking myself today or this week. Here is the question that I never asked myself, and this is the question that I'm asking myself. I ask that question, I reflect upon it. What did I learn, by asking me that question? And then I pose that question to people to say, create that space for you, spend this time with yourself, and ask yourself this question. And please share back, and say what came up with you. I mean, there are no wrong answers in this, but it would do you a lot of good if you were able to spend this time with yourself thinking about these things. And so how can I really bring that to everybody to say, because I truly believe that my growth really started when I started spending time with myself. And the more of me spending time was all just question and answers for myself. I would ask myself questions and then I would answer. I would ask myself questions and then I would answer. So that's precisely what I was thinking in the blend of those two, is that either create like teachings in terms of talk about a specific topic, understand what the need might be for the people and try to address that through knowledge and then put that out there. And the other mode of it is to just, whatever reflection that I am doing, and maybe I wouldn't do the more deep ones immediately, but what were the questions that I was asking? For example, when I was, lost a couple of years ago, I had only two questions in my mind. who am I and what is my purpose? Those were the only two questions that I had. I kept asking myself those questions. Who am I? And who am I? Is my behavior me? Is my past me? Different people look at me differently. I looked at myself differently. So I'm not my emotions. I'm not my behavior. I'm not even my actions, but who am I then? Right? So I had this, and I didn't know how to answer that question as to who I was. And it took me years to figure out that answer, not months, but years to figure out that answer. And I had to go through a lot to get that clarity in even seeing what I needed to see in myself. And the purpose came even later, but these were the two questions that I had in my mind when I was really, really lost. Who am I and what is my purpose? And there are so many other less, deeper questions that I continue to ask myself right now, because I kind of feel that I figured out some of those things. So what else can I ask about myself? Simple things like, what is it that I have learned about myself that surprised me this week? What did I learn about myself this week that I didn't know that surprised me? Are you on constant, journey to learn and grow? Those are the kind of things that I really want to, expose to people, make them reflect. But I also don't want to make all of my content too serious, because I know that if I, because it will take a level. Like, some people might connect with it, but my intention is to not make it serious. But I want people to go deep with it. I do want to people to go deep with it, but I want to be able to bring it out in a way that it is still, easy to consume, light, that will encourage more people to think about it. I don't want to only reach out to a few people who are already in that space, who are deep thinkers, who further continue to do that. Maybe they are the ones only who will engage. But even if I'm, inspiring people to think about a few of these things. So I would start with those type of topics, content, maybe something about society, something that they feel about themselves, what they're observing at work. There are a lot of those things that I would point, kind of bring forward to them for them to reflect on and share. So that's what I was thinking. So I would say I was able to relate with how you position that to me. Is that I am looking at my past selves, and I feel like I because of the community that I'm in right now in our school and stuff, I do see there are so many more people who are on that journey towards self-awareness. Today there was some discussion on spirituality, and so many people, marching forward towards spirituality. Some even further ahead in the journey that I myself am right now, And I would say I didn't know that so many people existed. I was not connected with this community. And I'm sure there's a 5-year younger Abhilash didn't know that this community existed the way it is. When the whole big wave of resignation started, I didn't know what that big resignation really meant. I'm more of an early adopter. I'm not an innovator in that phase. I don't fall in that first 1 to 2% who's the first one to try something new. So 5 years ago, a lot of people were in that shoes. When pandemic started, a lot of people did things differently for financial freedom. I didn't do that. So I started late, and I know that there are several more behind me. I probably am close to the 15, maybe 10, somewhere between 10-15% is what it is. There are still 85% of public behind me. So I know that they would be benefited with someone coming there in open and sharing some of these. And I know a lot of my social circle is still not aware yet. So I do know that I can help them further along in their way.
Yeah. I mean, the questions that you had to ask yourself, they're extremely powerful, and I think all of us think about it every day. Like, what is our purpose? Am I living in my purpose? Like, am I living towards my goals that are aligned with that purpose? Or what could I even do? What could I expose myself with to really figure that out? And so you have a very good idea of what people will resonate with, because it's a universal truth that everyone is questioning why we're even here, why we're even existing in the first place. How would you feel about creating content around that? Like just starting off with those two questions, as in like, here's how I found my purpose.
I've gone a little bit back and forth on this, Sergio. I'll tell you why. The question, and the more I think about it, just before answering, I'm answering myself and saying that, I shouldn't have those doubts. I mean, it should definitely be a yes, is what I'm leaning towards. It's like, should I really share my journey? Will people see value in my journey? Not that everybody can follow what I did. Not everybody might have the financial security that I had. Not everybody might have access to the knowledge or the people that I had access to, that made me choose my path. But I feel like, this is one way of doing it. And I'm not the only one who has done it. I'm connected now because of that with several thousands of people, not at a close level, but I have access to a community who have gone down that path, a spiritual path. And that's what really, took me there. And I couldn't, I knew that I had to come out at one point in time too, because I had a family and I had to, a lot of them had, wanted to renounce everything and say that, what, I just want to be, happy, healthy, contributing to the society. I don't want anything else. I don't care about money. I lived for 2 months of my life. I lived in a place where money had no value. I didn't use a single rupee. I mean, I was in India. I didn't use a single cent to, I didn't spend at all. I didn't have the need to, reach out to my wallet, and, money had no value. Only human values matter, and so how can you treat another people with kindness and compassion? That was the only thing. And how could you focus on your own self? How could you spend time with yourself? How could you get physically fitter? How could you get mentally fitter? That was the only thing everybody was doing over there. Everybody was just devoted to themselves and making sure they can help the person that they see in front of them. That's the only thing that they did. Money had zero value. Food, accommodation, everything was provided.
Yeah.
So I don't know if everybody will go through that, but that experience has had a profound impact on me. That's when I, for myself, realized, the role of a subconscious versus the conscious. I didn't read anything to know about it. It's through my own experience. When I was meditating and doing yoga for 6-7 hours a day, it automatically came to me that I was able to connect with the universe in some ways, and I got this clarity that, the only way I can really thrive is by contributing back to the community in some way. I see, because people looked at me and they came to me. And at that phase, I went there when I was extremely depressed, is when I went there. And just within the first few days of me going there were so many people who came to me and say, man, there is something about you. You're so vibrant. You're so happy. I just looking at you, makes me feel calmer. And the way I help somebody do something over there is saying that, maybe, I don't know, there is something about you that is so peaceful and calm. You are less flustered. The way you manage that situation while you were volunteering over there, I really enjoyed, watching you do that. And I was like, really, that's the vibe that I'm giving out right now? And I can't believe. And then I asked myself this question. It's like, it is true. I do have a smile on my face most of the time right now. I wasn't like this before. So there is something about service. There is something about this environment that I am in that has naturally aligned my body and mind to be in a certain way. And that's when it clicked for me, is to say that there is nothing else that I want to do. I want to go back and serve the community. And I see so many unhappy people who don't know that this is the way to happiness. And there are so many people that I know that, they would trade in a lot of things for just happiness. I was willing to trade my life for happiness, to be very honest, and that journey for me was really profound. And I have thought about this to say, should I really share all of this with other people? And then I'm like, do I really want to share all of this? Should I share something else? What should I really share? What should I not share? Because I've never been there. I've never done that. So those are the question marks that come in my mind. And, when I talk to you, when you ask me, how do you feel about sharing your journey? I feel like whenever I do this one-on-one with people, people give me this feedback to say that, man, you light up and you energized me just sharing your journey from where I was. I have not told you this before, but as well, I was in a phase in my life where I thought that my only option in life was to end my life. And I had everything in life that society claimed as success, right? Homeowner, family, kids, money, comfort, everything. I was managing a big global team, working in Fortune 50 companies, having a leadership role over there. I did everything. Yet I was in my position because I felt that I was not living my purpose. I was just not happy. I had money, but I really questioned. I asked this question aloud. I told my wife, I have no reason to earn money anymore. I don't know what money is doing. How is money benefiting me? I just don't know how money is benefiting me. It's giving me a lot of comfort, but this comfort is giving me nothing. I feel so empty within myself. that I feel like I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to do, and how long am I going to continue to keep making money and trading away my happiness? And this is not what I want my kid to grow up seeing, because she will become, and I am like that because my parents were, in some ways, because they were caught up in, having to make money, but their circumstances were not my circumstances. They grew up in poverty. I didn't grow up in poverty. I wouldn't say I grew up in riches, but I didn't grow up in poverty for sure. My parents did. They did grow up in poverty, and somewhere in me it clicked and said, I have to do something different. And, the day I quit my job, there was such a huge, load off my back, I would say. And I haven't shared this story with a lot of people. And when people hear it, a lot of people come back and say, wow, it does take guts to do that. And two, it's so inspiring, and I'm happy that you were able to do that. But I don't know why I still had that question mark in my mind to say, should I really go put myself out there? Because it's not so much, because I feel it's not so much about me. What I do want to contribute is for people to think about themselves. I don't want people to misunderstand in any way to say that, hey, this is the path that I chose, and you have to do something similar. I don't come to that mindset at all, that everybody has to. But I do encourage everybody to spend time with themselves. I think that is the one thing that if anything, I would want people to take away that. Learn to spend time with yourself. Learn to be comfortable being with yourself. Learn to enjoy your company. If you are not enjoying your company, something is wrong. If you feel lonely just being with yourself, something is off. Because now the best times that I spend is when I'm just with myself and in nature. I'm in nature with myself is the best time that I spend. But that's the message I do want to put out. But I feel like, can I really put it out with the essence without people having to feel that I'm trying to promote myself in any way? It's not my intention. And I'm thinking about all these things even without creating a single video. So obviously I'm stuck in my head a lot more than what reality is. So that's where I am. I would say yes, I do want to share my journey, but I want to be careful about how it comes out. I want to be planned. I struggle to be impromptu, but sometimes I feel that I am the most creative when I'm impromptu. When I'm right there wanting to just talk, like how I'm talking to you. I didn't plan to talk to you about any of these things. I feel good the way it is coming out right now, but I don't know for sure how somebody else is going to receive it. So I do want to be planned. I do want to be crisp because I feel like I can talk too much sometimes. So I do want it to be focused. And I want to make sure that everybody is taking away something for themselves, not just looking at it for me, but take away something for themselves. So as long as I'm able to do that, I think I feel positive about wanting to share myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So earlier you mentioned that you didn't know if you would be able to stand out, yet you've identified that your story is completely unique in a sense where you come from, your upbringing, your parents, and even the response that people have given you when you share your story. So there is definitely a uniqueness about you that will stand out. And by you sharing that story, it will connect with other people that are in a similar boat or at least in the same background as you, right? And something that I want to challenge you on is thinking about the person on the other side of the screen. How would it affect them if you didn't tell your story?
Yeah, I mean, when I think about that, the first thing comes to my mind is that most of the people who people follow are kind of celebrities or people who have really accomplished a lot, and people who are closer to my journey or level right now. The thing that comes to their mind is that if I was in their shoes too, I used to occasionally listen to Tony Robbins before, and like, oh wow, or follow certain CEOs in terms of how they are doing and what they're doing. I would be mesmerized with Steve Jobs, or in terms of how and what Bill Gates is doing. But I never really gave myself a chance that I could do it too. And I feel like if I can go out there and try to share my story, especially people who have met me in the past, and or just for people to know that I am one among them, and I could I had this. I am now on this journey. By no way I'm saying that I've accomplished anything significant. I do understand that I'm a work in progress, and I come with this mindset right now that I'm going to be a work in progress forever in my life. I did not have this. I identified with my ego a lot more than where I am today in my life, and I think that by not putting something out there, the way I negatively impact somebody is for them to continuing to have that belief that only a few people in life can do this, and you have to be really gifted, really smart. You need to have a lot of you need to be surrounded by the right kind of people, and everything has to align for you to really transform and make it happen. And or only a few people can figure out what their purpose is. Majority of the world cannot figure out what their purpose is. Because I've been looking for my purpose for a long time, and I did not know if I would ever find it. But when I made a commitment that I will at least try to be happy, I found my purpose in that. I wasn't looking for it, and I found it. But the key was that I wanted to be happy, and I figured out a way to be happy with myself. Being whoever I was. I learned more about myself. I had a false image about who I wanted to be. I didn't even know for sure as to who I was. And I was not sure about how I was behaving and how I was impacting people around me. So I got a lot more self-aware, and being out there and putting my story out there, I think is going to definitely encourage more people who are a few steps behind me to want to give it a try, or at least have a conversation. I think it's easier for those kind of people to have a conversation with me than to have a conversation with Tony Robbins or Jay Shetty for that matter, right? I mean, they are accomplished people. It's not easy to go find time with Jay Shetty and Tony Robbins and have a conversation with them so that they would understand where you are. And a lot of people have, a little bit of, trauma about therapy. Not people in America, but Indians, I would say, are not open to therapy as much as Americans are. Americans are like, they are open about, oh yeah, I've been talking about this with my therapist. Not many people in the world, I would say, at least that I know of, are comfortable being vulnerable outside. They would not share that very, very comfortably. So yes, so the negative impact would be that I might miss out on an opportunity to encourage somebody to take that first step. And for me also, I would say the important thing is to just take the first two steps. If anybody who's willing to take that first two steps, after that, it rolls. And I think by me not putting myself out there, I might be, maybe there are a couple of people who would continue to stay unhappier and feel further depressed and, do a disservice to them versus me putting myself out there. So when I think about that, because that's my real purpose is that, how can I get more people to see that, it's actually not that difficult in wanting to be happy, and whatever the society has set these expectations for you to say that this is the way that you're going to be happy by working hard and earning money and doing these things, this is what is going to make you happy, is incorrect. I will tell you, I have been there, I have done that. I consider myself to be in the top 1% of the world that society claims to be successful, and I'm telling you, we are filled. The top 1% is filled with people who are unhappy, who are not healthy, who are not having meaningful relationships, dealing with a lot of loneliness, stress, and burnout. And this is not the life that I want anybody to live. If anything, I would, trade my money for more happiness, more peace, more calmness. That's what I would go back and tell the world, saying that focus the right things in your life, focus human connections. Know how you're connecting, what you're connecting for. Be authentic. It's okay. Nobody's perfect in life, and don't take life too seriously. I was taking my life way too seriously. Those are all things that were expected by the society, that I would always, be that person, who's always on the go to achieve and accomplish more things in my life. Huge mistake. That's not the way to live in life. We have to have fun. We have to connect with other people. We need to keep that child alive in us, and that's my message to everybody. Like, be happy first. Be happy with every breath you take. And that's what I want to inspire people to learn to do. And the money will come. The money will come automatically. You will get everything that you need once you figure out, your purpose. The money will come.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, that's powerful. Like everything that you just mentioned, right? Like you just found a clear a indication that if you did not create content today, right, it would negatively affect another person just because you're doing them a disservice by not sharing your story, by not sharing your unique experience. Also, you've lived a life that's very fruitful and very how can I say, what everyone's striving for, right? So many people want to create massive amounts of wealth, but they don't know what comes with that if they don't have purpose, if they don't have anything that fulfills them. If it's just a chase for money, then it becomes very empty, and you've lived it, and that's very unique because not many people have gotten to that position to be able to tell their story like, hey, I made the money. I'm telling you from experience that it's not worth it. It's not going to be fulfilling if you don't have anything to really back it up, and it really make you feel happy and fulfilled. So you do have a very powerful story to tell. And as you've already mentioned, it would be a disservice to people if you didn't share that story. Now that you know this, and I'm sure you've been knowing this, what are some things that you can do to kind of start that ball, that momentum that you've mentioned? You said identifying the first couple steps for creating content. What are some things that you think that you can do to get that ball moving?
Yeah, firstly, before I answer that, Sergio, I see that you're validating this for me, but I also want to ask you a direct question, maybe looking at me, and I also do, even as a coach, you can give me your honest feedback, because you've known me for a few weeks now. Two things, right? One, I think you already answered this, that my story is inspiring in some ways, and it makes sense for me to put it out there. I don't know, I still had a very small question mark about, is it really worth putting my story out there? And the second one is, the thing that I wanted to think about is in terms of how I do it. I have this feeling, and I don't know this for sure, is that I am more expressive with my body language, with my facial emotions, and I'm a very emotional person. I do carry all my emotions, on my body, and I didn't, and I've always known that what I did not know about myself is that, that I can really feel so compassionate and empathetic as well, and that shows up on my body to an extent where others can see that very clearly. That's something that I did not know about. Putting myself on video and being out there, either through YouTube or Instagram, just doing these videos, when I think about the first two steps, I'm thinking about video, and that's why I'm preempting this with this question. Having known me, having seen me, is there a reason why I should be doubting if a video format would be the right way for me to approach this?
No.
Shouldn't be, right?
No. And I'm not here to bullshit you. I'm not here to just be a coach and just try to inspire you. I'm here to be real. I'm not like a regular coach. I wasn't even here to try to even be a coach. Remember that, Abhi? So yeah. It's just me trying to freaking help people. And this is what I like to do. I love creating content. And the thing is that a lot of people have insecurities. A lot of people that look at themselves and be like, oh, will people even listen to me? Like, why? What is it about me that anybody would even care to hear about? But what you have, the value that you're coming, the intent behind the content that you're trying to create. So it's important to really look at what you're trying to do, the value that you're trying to create for the world, and stop letting yourself stop you from that. Because if you're just letting yourself stop you from that, you're doing a massive disservice to the world, but you're also doing a massive disservice to yourself, because you don't know the abilities and the levels that you can get in society. When if you prevent yourself from creating content, you don't know if you're going to ever be successful. That's already telling you oh, I'm never going to freaking do it, because you just don't take the first step. You don't take the first action. And your expression, everything like that, these are massive things that people need to learn when it comes to content creation. And because you already have the ability to be expressive and everything, these things show up on video. They show up on camera, and they resonate with people. They connect with people because it's oh man, he's being authentic, So don't look at yourself and be like, oh man, should I, could I? Don't even ask me. Fuck what I think. Really, it's about you. It's about you.
Yeah.
how can you really like go all in and create that confidence for yourself? And when I define confidence, and this is, forgive me for preaching and giving advice once again, but like the way that I define confidence is doing what I say I'm going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I do the things that I say, the more confident I get, because it's like a bank account. Like the more things that I can be like, oh yeah, you know what? I thought I was gonna go skateboard, but I didn't go out today. So therefore my identity of being a skateboarder goes down and my confidence to skateboarding goes down. And I'm only saying this specifically because it resonates with me since I've been skateboarding since I was a kid. But if I tell myself, hey man, I'm gonna go skateboard today, I'm gonna go skate these stairs, I'm gonna, do some tricks off of it. The more I land the tricks, I'm like, damn, I'm actually pretty damn good at skateboarding because I say that I'm doing what I'm saying that I'm gonna do. So if there's something there when it comes to creating content, as in like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna be good enough to create content, will people even connect with me and everything, then I challenge you to just do it. Just get out there and start doing what you say you're going to do. Once you start seeing the responses and also just you on video and like doing the work, your confidence is tremendously going to increase. And you know that. You've been in the business world, you've been in the corporate world. Like these things happen. You don't start a job and be like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be good at this job, It's like you start doing the damn job and then you're like, oh shit, like I am actually pretty good at this job. And forgive me for my language and everything like that, but this is just the way I talk.
No, I prefer this kind of language, Sergio. So, this is more true. This is who I am too. And I like it, and I like it, and as I was asking you this question for feedback, that's why, I had this question mark to say, should I really be questioning myself these things? That was my real question to you, and thank you. You did you validated it, and I also mentioned to me is like, why are you really seeking this validation from other people? You have to give it a try. And I tell this thing to myself too, is that, I'm never going to know this. As I said, I was stuck more in my head than anything else. So I think, so my first two steps, so now I will answer your question, I feel, and thank you for that, me getting this validation from you also helps me be more confident. Somewhere I've also lived a decent portion of my life getting validation externally, and I'm still learning to all the time be able to internally validate myself. And I knew these questions. It's just that I don't know why I felt like it was important to ask you, but I feel better right now. So my first two steps, I would say, is I do want to open an Instagram account and set it up. Number one. I would say a few things that I want to do. I do want to go on Facebook, where I have more than 500 friends, and do want to go on LinkedIn, where I have probably more than 1,000 connections right now, and put a video out there first. Put a video out there, and I might actually do a different video on Facebook versus LinkedIn, maybe. On Facebook, because it's more friends and not, colleagues and, business connections that I have. On Facebook, what I really wanted to do is just tell people and be truthful to say that, firstly, I did not know how to use social media, and therefore I quit it several years ago, and I've never come back. But now I feel I have this reason to be here because I do want to really connect with people, and I do encourage people to engage and connect the right way, and maybe tell my story in a very succinct way as to, what happened, where I was, where I am right now, and not go into too many details in that initial video, but just let them know. I mean, just looking at me, people will be like, "Whoa, this guy looks so different." I mean, I was not bald. I didn't have a mustache before. My picture on Facebook still has me with like probably beard, a full stack of beard is what it was back in 2017 when I last logged in and posted something there. So obviously, I do want to tell people about my story to begin with, and just let them know that I do intend to be there more often on Instagram, and just remind them and ask them to follow, so that I can organically start fresh over there, just inviting different people to come follow me if they feel like it, but also use LinkedIn and Facebook as avenues to spread the message, to say that, guys, this is a change that I brought. This is my purpose. Maybe talk more about my purpose, how I discovered my purpose, and what my purpose is, and why I feel that way. What are the problems that I'm seeing that I want to be a part of, a part of the solution of, and just talk about those things initially. That would be my first few steps. I would say is that just break the ice, prepare people, let them know where I will be, what I will be doing going forward, how I can, be a part of their life, if anything, just I would encourage as many people as possible to be a part of my life going forward, even if we are virtual.
And how does that look like? How does that look like? Is it a post? Is it going live? Is it,
yeah,
a video?
I was initially thinking maybe I would, record a video for my first time. I want to, here is the thing that I'm observing about myself also is that when I have a general idea about something and I let it just free flow, I think I have a better rhythm in terms of, and what I want to say and how I say. The only con of it is that I can drag along and I can sometimes, move away from topic to topic because there's so much in my head. I need to just be conscious about that, and I'm sticking to certain boundaries. I'm drawing these boundaries. Okay, I need to be this way. And on the other side, whenever I've tried to script things out, really think about it, script it, and that's usually my style. Is like I would do before I go and because I used to do a lot of presentations at work and other things. I would repeat. I would practice it maybe 10, 15 times. In my mind or in front of, whatever, I would walk and talk to myself, what have you. And I would be very, very thorough because, it becomes a habit for me then, when I script it in such a way that I'm there, I'm just out there, presenting to my senior executives or whatnot, it just comes out naturally. And I'm adept at if I forget something, if I have to tweak, if I have to adjust, I'm capable of doing that, but behind the scene, there's a lot of preparation for me most of the time. It used to be that, but when I see that when I prepare too much, and I haven't really, I feel when I prepare too much, I might not sound, super real, like, super natural, authentic in some ways. And that's the question mark that I have for this kind of social media platform. How much should I prepare? And how much should I let things flow authentically? That's the balance that I still haven't, somewhere I'm leaning toward, know what you're talking about, know your boundaries, have the high level ideas about what you speak about, generally, keep this in mind, but let it come out freely, experiment it a few times, see how that feels for you. If it feels okay, go release it. If it doesn't feel okay, that's why I say initially I want to record myself first rather than going live. Record myself and then see if I can, if it makes sense to edit it in a way that I could post. That's what I would say.
Okay, awesome. Action steps, right? So the only way that we actually do things, because we can have ideas. Everybody has ideas, but the action takers, they're the ones that get rewarded. So I want you to, have something. Do you have anything to write down? Something? Awesome. So first step, pick a topic. What is it that you want to announce to the world, right? Mm-hmm. That'll be step number one. Now, something that you mentioned is that you want to be authentic, but you also want to have a little bit of structure. And from my experience, I've experimented with both. I've completely scripted everything out, and then I've also just done free flow thought and everything. And I've noticed that my style lands somewhere in the middle, where I need a little bit of reminder of okay, what do I want to talk about? But also I want to give myself that free range of being able to express myself the way I want to without having it so cookie cutter. So I would suggest, and you don't have to take my suggestion, but to do bullet points. Just what is it that you want to hit in this video? And to structure a video, this is this is advice, but this is what I've learned is you want to structure your video by letting the person know exactly what the video is about right in the beginning. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to make a sandwich, right? And then in the middle of the video, you want to give the content, the context, the educational piece, the informational piece, the persuasional piece, whatever it is that your video's ideal content is supposed to be about, right? You want to give them the substance. And then at the end of the video, you want to have a call to action or something to let people know what to do. Give them something to do. Either if it's subscribe to my channel, follow along, leave a comment, something to keep engagement. So that way you can have a clear formula of how to structure your first post. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I've been putting this aside for a long time. I have close to 27 voice memos that I've already recorded for content that I thought would make sense to release, but I haven't really done anything with it. So I'm going to go look back at what I thought initially and maybe form new ideas. But I like this format. I think I like this idea of meeting somewhere in the middle. I think that's exactly where I see myself applying myself to as well. Probably jotting down some bullet points and going over that is what I would do.
Yeah. Another question that I really want to ask, just because I didn't hear this one, and it's one of the most powerful platforms that we have right now. How do you feel about TikTok?
Oh, I have no experience with TikTok at all.
Yeah.
I have no idea about TikTok. I've never seen some TikTok shorts on YouTube sometimes, but that's the extent of my exposure to TikTok.
So right now, the meta in social media is vertical content. So recording with your phone like that in the vertical, and things that have been going viral or things that have been being pushed by the actual software and the company itself is that type of video, is just on your phone, vertical video. So make sure that you do a vertical video. And you can, after recording the video on your phone, you can upload it on Facebook as a reel or Meta, right? You can do that as a reel, and then you can do it on Instagram as a reel, and then you can do it on TikTok as a reel. So all three platforms and YouTube has vertical short content. So if you can do that first video and put it on all four, you're going to see massive amounts of validation, because that's the experiment, right? You want to validate what you're doing, and you want to see if anybody would even tune in. So after you post 4, send me a message and be like, hey, here's what I posted. Send it to me so I can watch it. And then also, let me know how it feels to create your first post.
Yeah, I think this was due, and I need to get this done. So I'm looking forward to it.
So what commitment can you give to me from here to our next session?
My commitment is that I would have announced to the world that what has happened with my life and where to follow me. So I will think about TikTok, but for sure I do plan to use Instagram and YouTube for sure. Those are because I do want to do webinars, so I do kind of podcasts. So I do anticipate using YouTube as well. But definitely, I'm going to post on Facebook. I'm going to create an ID on Instagram and post it there. And I don't know about TikTok and YouTube Shorts yet, but I'm going to figure out if there's a short version to do, easy to do it. I will probably upload it on YouTube as well. But at least one video before we meet next is my commitment. Yeah, if possible, more than one.
That's awesome. So how are you feeling right now? Like, based on our session, what are some values, some takeaways that you got from today's session?
Coming into the session, the question mark that I had is that, is the timing of me doing this right now? Because I had previously questioned this to myself as well, as to can I really be my future self without really being on social media? And I already answered that for myself and said, no, you have to. If you want to improve your circle of influence, if you want to impact more people, social media is the way to go right now. So, and you have to become comfortable doing that. But I was really questioning, is this the right time for me? Should I be doing something else? Should I be working on the details of my business model and, what have you? Everything is important, and so is this. And I think through this discussion and through this session is where even though I had answered this before, I have more clarity to say that I'm not looking at social media right now as a marketing pipeline or a sales pipeline for myself. I'm just doing this only to help other people in their journey. All I'm asking them to do is follow me for more content. I'm not asking them yet to come book a discovery call or come, work with me or even tell them a lot about life coaching. I just want them to get settled in first, where I grab my clients using a different cycle that I'm currently interested in. But if I do this enough, I know this is going to benefit me 6 months from now, a year from now. So that's how I'm looking. That was the big takeaway for me, is that there is value in doing this right now, and don't tie everything to your business right now. That was my biggest takeaway. So there's value in doing this because it's learning, it's something new, it's creativity, and I like being creative. So and I don't give myself enough credit that I enjoy being creative. So I think this is good. There will be one new activity that I think I will enjoy doing, and I look forward to doing that. So thank you, Sergio. It was an amazing session for me, because it helped me get that clarity. Those 2-3 things that I was there but I was not clear. You helped me, pull myself up and look at the other side of the wall. Now I'm more interested in climbing up the wall and really, sliding down the other side. So I'm more interested in doing that now.
Yeah. The best growth comes from being uncomfortable. So like if you see that this is a big friction, that like, how can I get there? How can I get there? Because you want to. This challenge is only going to help you grow and just become more confident as to all the achievements that you've had in your past. Now this is just going to be another thing that you're going to dominate. So I'm excited to see your growth. I'm excited to see your first video. What are some things that I could do for you, just to help you on this path?
Do everything that you did today is what I would say. I generally would come to you to feel that spurt of adrenaline, a little bit of that extra validation and motivation that I can go get certain things done, because I feel otherwise, I conduct myself with the intent that I need to push myself to. So I think today's session was great. You brought in great energy into our meeting. Just being with you, I felt energized. The way in between, where even though you felt you were giving me advice, I think that was one of the better things that happened for me. You're having heard you say that, and the way you did it with that energy, your body language, you moved and you addressed it. That really is what I would want you to continue to keep, because that inspires me. And I do want to continue to keep pushing myself as much as I can. The other things that I would also say is, because I know that you are also trying to figure out a way of coaching and something, if this is if I'm the right client for you to practice some of that, is to say how can I become a better content creator. So I know that me overcoming some of my hurdles is one thing. Being better at content creation is a skill that you have, that I'm looking forward to learning. Like, even knowing that there are these 4 type of things that you can create one video and post it into 4 different platforms, and that the vertical one is what is trending right now. These are great, wisdom tidbits that I would appreciate, as we go forward. So to validate how I can become better as a content creator, what else I can apply. There's the knowledge of content creation, not the content itself, but the knowledge of content creation. I would greatly appreciate that.
Welcome back, and thanks again for watching that coaching session with Abhi and I. If you're interested in being coached by me, click the link in the description below so you can book a 30-minute call with me. Or click here so you can see another coaching session like this and continue your journey. Remember, with patience, we prevail.